Thank you, Lisa. It's always great to be back in Ottawa. This is the hometown of my wife Jane, and some of you may know the name Nelms. George Nelms, although he was a mayor in the city of Ottawa, his claim to fame, as he always told me, was that he would fit John Diefenbaker for his glasses. And he has a number of stories about that. It's great to be here, and Rob and Andrew, we look forward to having you at Queen's Park. The seats are warmed up for you, and we can't wait. I have to tell you that we can't wait for that election. You know, there are those who, and I've heard this, you may have heard it, talk about the fact that we are positioning ourselves for an election, that we're not going to vote for the budget, and even if we haven't seen it. Now, there's some criticism about that. We should at least have waited to see the budget before saying that, is what people are saying. Let me tell you this. Anybody who is saying that hasn't been in this province for the last 10 years. And you know what? We've seen budgets from the Liberals, and they haven't kept to any of them. We've seen nothing but broken promises, commitments made in budgets, and the next day they forget what that document was supposed to have been. We don't need to see a budget to know that the Liberals can't keep a promise. We don't need to see a new budget to know that there's a $15 billion deficit, and although they tell us that they're going to balance the budget, who here believes it? I don't believe it. And what we know from the new Premier is that we will see the word conversation at least 30 times in that budget document. This woman is going to have conversations. She's going to have conversations about, guess what? Funding tools. You know what that word tools is? It's code for taxes.
Shame. And
she talks about a deficit, an infrastructure deficit that we have, transportation and transit. And she tells us the good news is that she has a plan. The bad news is that it's going to cost $50 billion to fix it. The really bad news is that she says she knows where the money is. You know where that is? In your pocket. And what she's telling us is that she's going to find a way to get it out of your pocket and into the coffers of the government of Ontario. Lisa and Jack, welcome, Jack.
Hey, Jack. Good morning, Frank.
Jack McLaren, everybody knows Jack. In a very short time, he's made a reputation for himself in the legislature as a guy that you don't go up against. And, you know, here's the message. The message is that a progressive conservative government under Tim Hudak is going to give the people of this province principled government that's based on values, government that you can predict what is going to happen. And the reason is that we believe that once again we have to get to the point in this province where people have a government that tells the people in a straightforward way what it is they're going to do, and then they're going to do it. And they're going to deliver not only a balanced budget, but government that's transparent and accountable. And that takes me to my friend Lisa. I just want to say this about Lisa. Folks, this woman has carried the education portfolio through the toughest times in the province of Ontario. And Lisa, thank you for your leadership. We can be proud that throughout all of that turmoil, Lisa saw through what this government was going to do. She took a stand. She made us all as caucus members very proud that we knew where our government was, we knew what had to be done, and now take a look at a policy that was announced by Tim, and I know was recommended by Lisa. And that is that extracurricular activities should be part of a teacher's contract, no longer at the option of teachers. We need our kids to get teaching not only on the academics, but the full curriculum. And Lisa, thank you for your leadership on that. The recent poll, I don't know if you saw the poll that was released this morning, 67% of people in the province of Ontario are fully on side with that policy, and the rest are teachers. So we just want you to know that that's the kind of principled leadership that we look forward to bringing to the province of Ontario. This riding unfortunately, has to take an awful lot of responsibility for the mess that we're in. Now, nobody in this room can in any way be held for that guilt. But there's an opportunity to turn that around. And I believe that's going to happen in the next provincial election. I want to thank you. I want to thank you as members of this riding association and supporters of this riding. The reason for that, I've now been elected 5 times. And although I'd love to take the credit for that, my participation is really quite minimal. It was the riding association, it was the people, the volunteers behind me, the people that actually supported me, did all of the hard work, the fundraising, the canvassing. And you know what? More important than any of that is to prop me up and encourage me when the going got tough. And Lisa knows, and Jack knows, and those of you who have been candidates know that it's tough going through an election. And that's why we need people there to support us and to encourage us. And thank you for being here, for doing exactly that. I want to acknowledge my good friend Gary Guzzle.
Here, here!
Gary, when I got the invitation to be here, I was looking for it. I called Gary. I said, look, if I come in a day early, would you mind having dinner with me? And so that's what we did last night. If I look a little tired, it's because of that. We had a wonderful dinner. And then following dinner, we had a cleansing ale, just to make sure that we both slept well. But here's what I want to say about Gary. Such an incredible man of character. And when Gary served with me in the legislature, during those times when we, as the Progressive Conservative Party of Ontario, turned a province around that at that time had seen a downward trend in the economy. Manufacturing jobs had left the province. We didn't have gridlock because companies had stopped operating. And there was a deficit of leadership in this province like we had never known before. And with people like Gary, and with a leader like Mike Harris, and with a team that knew what it was that we were going to do, we were able to turn that province around. Within a matter of 3 years, we balanced that budget. And it was tough. And I can tell you in my office, I've got a picture there that was on the front page of every daily in the country. And it was in front of the legislature, and myself and my colleagues were being protected by police in armor. And the reason for that is that those who didn't understand the importance of taking a stand and the importance of bringing fiscal responsibility back to our province were demonstrating by the thousands against us. You know what? We didn't say to the people, we want to have conversations with you. What we said, we want to show leadership. And we demonstrated that. And that's what we're committed to do. I can tell you that you can count on us to take a stand. There'll be those who will wonder whether we should be taking such a firm stand. But let me tell you, folks, if we don't, we'll never turn this province around, and that'll be our responsibility to do exactly that. I want to talk just a little bit about Orange. I want to talk to you about what I think is a textbook example of what's happening right across this province. It's not just Orange. One of the reasons that we're so persistent about following through on the investigation of what took place there is because we believe that what we can do by properly analyzing what went on at Orange and ensuring that there are consequences for people who betrayed the public trust and wasted millions of dollars that should have gone to the front lines of healthcare is because we can take that as an example and apply it to every other ministry and agency and board and commission in this government. I can tell you that as the lead on that committee, I get emails and phone calls almost every day from civil servants who want to do their job. From every ministry in the government saying, Mr. Klees, would you please look into our department? Because if you think it's bad at Orange, we have a story to tell here. And that's why Tim Hudak says this. Before we go into the pockets of taxpayers again for more money to do what has to be done in this province, we're going to fix the waste and the betrayal of trust that's taking place right across the government. Folks, there are not millions of dollars of waste in this government. There are billions of dollars of waste in this government, and we'll find them, and we'll apply those billions to the important infrastructure and the important policy measures that we know the people of this province need. So, what happened at Orange? Can I put it to you this way? After 59 witnesses who've come forward to testify under oath, there's a common theme. And the common theme is this. There was a lack of oversight on the part of the Minister and the Ministry of Health. There was a lack of having people held accountable for the jobs that they were assigned to do. And today, still to date, there has been no consequence for one person in the Ministry of Health, including the Minister. In fact, our new Premier rewarded that Minister who oversaw that scandal and allowed it to brew under her watch, rewarded her by making her the Deputy Premier. What does that tell you about not only the leadership, but the morality of the people who are giving us or pretending to give us leadership? So here's the example for us. We will take, through the prism of that Orange scandal, we will take account of every ministry, and we will ensure that those principles of transparency and accountability are applied, and we will hold accountable those people who have the responsibility and have been entrusted with oversight. We will ensure that there are consequences for those people who don't do their job. It's called firing people who don't do their job. Anybody ever heard about that? And you know what? I think the first Deputy Minister who loses his or her job